Baddie Behavior. Baddie Behavior. Classic, we're out and about. Obviously, this is a Baddie original.
Okay, Happy New Year, Baddies. We are episode 6 of Baddie Behavior, the podcast. The theme of this episode is we're actually going to challenge New Year's. They have not been challenged in a really long time. So this is a duel. Secondly, is about listening to nature. We are part of nature, whether we act like it or not. Also, that's a big part of why we are challenging New Year's, because it's not natural. Lastly, saying yes to things, not like huge things, saying yes to little things that can kind of alter and change the course of your day and then honestly your life. So that's the theme of it. We might go off a little bit. That's what baddies do. It's okay. Why I don't believe in New Year's. First of all, let's just do some science. Dead of winter, January 1st. This is a new year. When? I think we all started to honestly realize that there's something missing here, and that is a month. There are 13 zodiac signs. Listen, I'm into astrology. I don't care what you think. The moon controls the tides of the water in the world. That is a known fact, okay? And we are made up of over 70% water. And you're telling me the time and place we're born underneath the stars doesn't dictate a little bit of what we are? Listen, I grew up Catholic, culturally Catholic in the Northeast. And there's a difference if you grew up Presbyterian, Lutheran, like Christianity under that umbrella. There's a different vibe. And I have my own relationship with God. It's not being force fed. There's some things I don't agree with in the Catholic Church, obviously. But one of the things I really don't like that they did in 1582, there was a change from 13 months in the year to 12. And why is that? So the Catholic Church in 1582, the equinoxes were falling about 10 days earlier. And then some church holidays such as Easter were not falling in the correct seasons. Okay. There was a leap year thing involved, the Julian leap year, overcompensated, and some things were not going right. So all of a sudden, Pope Gregory was like, we need these Catholics to celebrate Easter in the correct season. As part of the change, 10 days were dropped from October. First of all, let's talk about the months. October, Oct, 8. Why is it the 10th month? December, Deci. It's 12, but it should be 10. There's something that's skewed because the church wanted things to fall on a certain method because they either did their math wrong before or they just wanted, to divert the masses somewhere else. So when they adopted that new calendar, they decided January 1st was the first day of the new year. So this is called the Gregorian calendar. And then during this time, not everyone adopted this calendar all at once. They were straddling two different calendars. The legal New Year started March 25th. Is way later than January 1st. We're looking more spring, right? That's when things are starting to bloom and you start to thaw out. So this is called double dating. Some people use January 1st and then the legal was March 25th. And we didn't learn about this in school because why would we challenge the system that's indoctrinating us to be good boys and girls and to get ready to work a 9 to 5? Because why would you think for yourself when you have to do these standardized tests? That's all I'm saying. It took from 1582 to 1752, almost 200 years for things to actually settle. And then obviously the colonies and England finally adopted the new Gregorian calendar, but people were not happy about it. This affected people's birthdays. George Washington, under the Julian style calendar, was born February 11th, 1731. But afterwards, when they officially moved everything 10 days, he was born February 27th, 1732. I feel for the founding fathers and those people in this time era. But long story short, it wasn't working out for the Catholic Church. They wanted to keep an appearance, and so they changed the calendar. So I challenge New Year's because it's not really the New Year's. It's actually deep hibernation time. When people say, what's your New Year's resolution? I always say, I don't have one. I don't have one. This is not the time to be pushing something that it doesn't make sense. There's a Scandinavian term called Hygge, Hygge. It's a Scandinavian Danish, describes a feeling of quiet and comfort and contentment. So that could be reading a book, lighting a candle, simmering down for the night, grabbing a blanket, sitting in front of the fireplace. That's the vibe. So that in the Nordic countries, obviously the sun sets way sooner. And this is a turn to a history lesson, but bears hibernate. There are some humans in deep North Pole that hibernate for months at a time. I did some deep research. Anyway, all I'm saying is the reason why we get so stressed over New Year's and resolutions because it's not natural for us to be forcing so many changes it's our bodies fighting against it. You are stressed because you're thinking you need to change your whole entire life like by January 1st. That's absolutely 0% true. I like the winter. I'm born in February in Aquarius. When the sun sets, that's when I'm setting. We need to go back to basics. If you live in a cold environment, it gets darker earlier. Everyone looks at nature as something that we're different from. Oh, I'm going into nature. I'm going to the woods. I'm going to the beach. I'm doing that. The fact that we see ourselves as such a different entity as nature is one of the problems that the mainstream media has been doing that through our whole life. We are a different concept. That's basically what they're saying. And we feel so recharged being in nature or being around people or being around environments that are, part of nature, because that's what we should be doing. And we should not, right now, we should not be, out all the time. It's okay to sit inside. You are tired. Our circadian rhythm is changing. We're summer, spring, you feel a balance in your step. Right now you don't. And that's why when you're trying to do your new workout sessions, your new diets and all this stuff, yeah, it's good to have a nice routine all year round. I listen to whatever my body's saying. Yes, I have to go out and work. Yes, I have to do this that I don't want to do. That's different. But if you want to stay inside and read a book and not go out to the bars and not do that, why are we made to feel guilty to be doing that? Because we're not out spending money. We're spending consumer dollars. That's what they want us to do. Be out, do this, go to dinner, do this. Sometimes we just want to sit and read a book from the library. So be kind to yourself. New Year's is a time for hibernation. Sit inside and sit with yourself. This is a time for reflection. And that's why it also hurts. Reflecting on the past year is hard. The energy right now is frenetic. We all just, we're all feeling it. We're all tapped in now. Also, I think as TikTok, social media, we all know that the news on TV is fake. It's like a soap opera. I'm so bored of it. I don't watch the news. Like, the people are the news. The hard part is to sit inside yourself. What do you need to change? What do I need to change about myself? And there's times where do great work. You're going to have a great diet. You're not going to have a great diet. You're going to go out with your friends. This is all natural. This is all the natural cadence. You're listening to the cadence, what you need to do. And obviously you got to reel it in sometimes, but just stay inside if you want to stay inside. Don't try to be a whole new person. One step at a time. Enjoy winter. Winter is beautiful. They don't want us to like winter. The cold air in the face is so refreshing. You just need to be outside for a little bit. Go for a walk. If you're going to the office, you're going in there, you're making some money, you're coming back. All right. Then you're making your dinner, you're watching your show. Everything's going to be okay. The spring equinox is the new year. And why do you think the legal date for the new year, pre 1582, when the Catholic Church changed it, was March 25th? That is around the spring actual equinox. In history, there's old calendar, new calendar written in things. And this is the new calendar, the Gregorian. And it's messed with us. And I also have beef with daylight savings. That is really messed up, and it helped people during the Industrial Revolution times. No, it helped people, aka the big companies, exploit people into working 8 hours a day for low compensation, and that has stayed in our system until now. And ever since COVID, when we finally got a break and be like, whoa, we don't need to be in the office every day, that was crazy. The companies wanting butts in seats in buildings, paying mortgages, paying rent, and all of that. We don't need to be in buildings and do that. There's other ways to make money, but I digress. I was in the corporate world. I did that. When I was in the corporate world, I felt change, and it was nice to be around people in that structure for a little bit, but I was like, this is it. This is what life is. So that's why everyone's energy feels off in January, because it's not the new year. You should be deep resting, reflecting, thinking, gaining that energy for when spring, summer, and fall comes. Okay? There's different seasons for a reason. And I've always been in tune with myself. I try to listen to my internal voice and things. And this is a time where I think in the winter, I think of new ideas for what I want to accomplish. And also just give your body a rest. There's two different things. You try to force productivity in an environment that you are feeling depleted. That is going to give you nothing but doing things that are fake checklist. You write a checklist of things you've already done. That's kind of what you're doing. If you really want to do some hard work and get to know yourself, sitting in silence, not looking at your phone, not looking even at a book or anything. A book does work your mind. Sitting in silence and being with yourself is probably one of the hardest things you could do. Really sit there, get to know yourself. I have a retail job. I'm also running my own business, and I'm doing this podcast. Being put in these environments are hard. I've never worked retail before. It's being around a new set of people, obviously any new job, physically demanding. I don't know any of this skill set. I was trained to do corporate. I was trained to play soccer. So this is totally new to me, and I felt out of my element. But having a home sanctuary is important where you come and relax. But having a home within yourself is one of the hardest things I've been building and I've been working on. But being out in the world and utilizing it has been one of the harder things. I get anxious like any other person, maybe more so than others. I overthink things, and trying to be in my body in the moment can be challenging. But if you can create a home within yourself where you feel safe within your own body, I don't know how else to explain it, but that's kind of what hibernation, I think, if you're doing. Can you sit with yourself? Can you look at what you have done, what you want to do? And then also you can create your new self at any moment. So I've never felt myself rejuvenated by January 1st ever. The holidays are so sucking. It's taking so much energy from you. So you should be feeling sluggish. Thanksgiving to New Year's, honestly, I loathe that time of year. The pre-expectations of doing things is just not for me. Me and my family do things a little bit different. We kind of just like, we don't do like presents. We just hang out with each other, and it's just like, that's what it is. We're like, what's up? So just embracing the slowness of the winter. Maybe you actually enjoy winter. I like winter in the city because everyone's here. And I don't know, I feel like I see my friends more. If I want to go out, it's more cohesive. The summer, I mean, catch me outside, obviously, but it's different vibes. I think New York City is meant for the winter and for the fall and a little bit of the spring. Summer, I'm here all the time. If you honestly want to change your life, you need to start saying yes to small things during your day. Saying hard yes or hard no. You need to know. If you feel in the middle, it's a hard no. So I had a really long shift of Euphoria. I had an 8-hour shift the other day. I was not used to working 8 hours of physical labor, and last week was really hard for me. And I called my best friend Kelly. I was like crying. I was like, I'm really overwhelmed. Like my body's like short circuiting. It's also the holidays. I've never done retail before. So I felt like, whoa, burnt out. But then when someone else at work said that they were really tired and that this was a lot, my boss is like, this has been a hard season. Somehow I relax. So perspective is what shapes life. If it's supposed to be hard, which it is, but like I was like, what am I doing? I'm giving all my energy physically, emotionally to customers, to the stock room and all that stuff. And like, that's fine. But I was just like, but once it was like confirmed, I was like, oh, that's okay. And I got a new energy. So life is all mental. I was coming back from my 8-hour shift. I was so tired. And I see this old senior citizen woman in her wheelchair. I think I've seen her before, but I do the same route every day and through Washington Square Park and then whatever. So I was on Fifth Ave walking home. Couldn't wait to eat my bagel, shower, and just like relax. And I see her. She's like teetering her toes. She's very old. And she's stuck. In New York, we have these little divots for wheelchairs or strollers. And there's little like knobs on them, like little grates. So she was stuck. She couldn't move. I think she was tired. Anyway, I see her and I was crossing the street. And I go to walk. And then I hesitated. I was like, oh my God, I don't always want to do the right thing at all times. She was so cute and so old. I go to her. I'm like, hey, would you like some help? Would you like me to push you? And I'm not even talking about me. It's her saying yes that changed the course of her day and my day. Her saying yes and being open to that. Some senior citizens, some people that are in wheelchairs, other things, they don't want to be helped. And I've asked before and they've said no. You need to ask. Don't assume people want help. But she said yes. And I was like, okay, great. Next thing you know, I'm rolling down Fifth Ave. We're stopping. We're soaking in the sun. She's like, look at this. I'm like, yes. She's telling me she was a reporter in Florida in the 60s and 50s. And then she moved to New York and she's been here since 1965. I'm just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then she was going to lunch and she is kind of in dirty clothes. She takes care of herself. First of all, the elderly are really, why are they on their own? What the heck? She gets a free meal every day, but like she has to get herself there. This is crazy. Anyway, we roll up into the Greenwich Village Rec Center for the senior citizens. I thought I was going to drop her off at first. Then she was like, and she said this quote, spit some syllables. She just wants to chat, chit chat. She's a girl. I'm a girl. Like we want to chat. So she's like, come on, I'll get you lunch. I'm like, no, it's really okay. First of all, I wasn't sure about the lunch. I didn't want to take from the other people. So she signs me in and then I roll her through and like, she's done it herself before, but I was like, yeah, I told her, I prefaced it. I was like, let me be the helper today. I know you can do this yourself. She's like, yeah, all right. And then immediately she starts singing a song and I'm like, hey girl, yes. And the lunch lady was so cute. She was like, baby, you want some? No, I'm like, it's okay. I would have, but it was like vegetables and like sloppy Joe with beans in it. It just wasn't for me. And they told me to take a banana. They knew I was low deficiency on that. So me and Sarah get her stuff. We're rolling through. Life is so crazy. If I woke up and said, I'm going to be eating lunch at a senior citizen rec center, I'm just sitting across from her. We're talking about the roaring 20s. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, whoa, this is so random. I'm having a good time, but I'm still kind of out of my element. Some new environments, my body's like, what are we doing? So these little things, saying yes and doing these things, build these muscle of being malleable and being able to participate in the world. So I try to participate in the world as much as possible because, first of all, it gets me out of my head. It's so I don't get anxiety. If I'm too much thinking about what's going on, other things, it can get me down. And I don't know, I love history, and we talked about the Prohibition. I told her I'd like FOMO of not living in New York in the 60s. She said that she went to Woodstock, and then I was like, I'm like, should have led with that, Sarah. So then she was saying how she woke up really upset because she didn't have New Year's Eve plans. This was New Year's Eve. And she was a go-go dancer back in the day. And then she was like, you know what, it's okay. I was going to be like, just sit in my apartment and think about the memories. But she was like, I'm so glad I'm hanging out with you and have plans for New Year's. And I was like, yeah, actually same. Small ones like this honestly changed my life more than any other big event. And I video when I can not because I want vanity. I want to show it's cool to take care of people. And I vlogged a little bit. I posted on TikTok and people resonated with it. Also, like, it was kind of fun to be like hanging out. I want to show it's cool to help people. It's cool to be a good person. Being a good person is the least you can do. Oh my God. Just helping each other out. Like baddies helping baddies. Like, she's a baddie. I'm going to help her out. And she's going to help me out. Then I saw Rick. I was like, oh my God, that's a guy that feeds pigeons in the park. She's like, yeah, that's Rick. So he came over. I'm like, hey, Rick. Then I saw him on the street the other day. A lot of these people, they're on the verge of homelessness. They really don't have much. So them seeing a young face and like interested and like they are funny, they're humans. Honestly, maybe everyone's like, oh, you made her day. I'm like, actually, she made my day. So I gave her a hug. Then she like obviously has a little bit of dementia, but then I gave her a hug. I'm like, thanks so much for hanging out with me. She was like, oh, like, and she like needed it. And I'm just like, I also need it too. I'm hyper vigilant. I'm always sensing what's going on, the energy. That's why New Year's, I'm just like, you guys need to calm down. You guys need to figure it out with all the consumer. They're pushing everything down our throats. That's why I also like, I'm building my clothing brand. I have my clothing brand. It's already built, but I'm building upon it. Yeah, the items are expensive. They're supposed to be. That's the whole point because it's made with good materials. I don't want you buying 6 sweatshirts in the span of like 6 of the same sweatshirt. You can buy 6 different ones. I want you to buy the piece and have it and wear it. And like, the more you wear something like that vintage feel, it gets better. That's what I want you to do. And that's what I do with my stuff. This is for you to buy it like once and like you have it for the rest of your life, to hand down things. One of the biggest gifts I've gotten from my parents and my Aunt Irene, shout out, is they've saved their clothes from the 90s. And in the 80s, I would go shopping in the attic and take this stuff, and Aunt Irene would send stuff to us and I would wear it over the years. But like, these things were made with quality materials. And honestly, Doc Martens back in the day, they were this expensive things, but they were made with real leather and real things. So I still have my mom's from the 90s. But I want you to take your time. Like Baddie Behavior, my clothing brand, like the materials I have, I feel comfortable charging the price for because that's what it's made. Also, I saw Gigi Hadid's, like her brand is like guest in residence, and she's making cashmere back, but she wants you to have these staple things in your wardrobe. Yes, it's $400 for a sweater for her, but that's going to pay off in the long run. The ROI on that when you're going to wear it. So like, good things take time. I'm not forcing things down your throat. If you would like to be part of the baddie, like, I just know I'm building Baddie Behavior. Sometimes I wake up like, whoa, when did I even come up with this? But I have a physical product in a world where life isn't very physical. And I think it's really important to slow things down and get back to basics. And this is what I'm building with Baddie Behavior. Just elevated basics with a fun little twist. So yeah, Baddie, everything I have is an energy that's part of me. Like this sweatshirt, this is a varsity collection. I have real patches put on these sweatshirts. I have embroidery, organic cotton, Sarah and all that, old Sarah. Say yes to opportunities that you wouldn't do. and say no to things that you don't want to do. New Year's resolutions don't need to start in January. They can start whenever you want. And that is what the mainstream media, they don't want you to do. They force these New Year's Eve, rockin' New Year's Eve down our throats and these New Year's sales. Go at your own pace with everything. Even my company, it's here because I want it to be here. It's here because I created it and something told me I need to create this. It's like the field of dreams. You build it, they'll come. Why do you build that field? The right baddies, the right people that are the same vibe as me, they're going to find it and they're going to be like, this makes sense. This quality makes sense. And it's not going to be for everyone. You aren't for everyone either. And remember that. You don't owe anyone anything. You owe yourself. You owe time for yourself. And working at this retail job, I've talked to a lot of people that I wouldn't have talked to or seen in my daily life. And I'm really excited about this because it's interesting to be around people that, I don't know, you just wouldn't see. By pushing senior baddie Sarah down the street made me honestly realize, I know when people say, oh, your life can change in a second. It really can. It really can. You can become the person you've always wanted to be with just a little switch. So this week I want you to really feel your energy. You can sometimes feel when it's not your energy too. So let's use some discernment of being like, okay, is this my energy or is this someone's energy else projected onto me? Because if you live in a house with other people, you're in school, and reflect, what are some things that might be doing that? Reflect and just going with the flow of what your body, I intuitively eat. I intuitively do this. I know when my body needs meat or real fruit. I've not been doing well with that. Yeah. So I'm pretty tired right now. I just got off a shift, but I wanted to get this out here and keep to my schedule and do things and get this. It takes a lot to edit and doing it all myself, but that's what I like to do. So anyway, happy new year. And remember, the new year is on your schedule. And if you just for one day, do your school, if you have work, whatever, but anything else you can not be in other people's schedule and really be like, yeah, what do I need? Try to do that. Just be a baddie and relax. So I'll see you next time. Bye.
Baddie behavior. Baddie behavior. Classic, we're out and about. Obviously, this is a Baddie original.